Hi everybody and welcome. Remember to send your questions in. If I don't get questions from you, then all you get is me rabbiting on about stuff that pops into my head, and I'd rather be answering your questions. 3 topics I wanted to talk about today. One is COVID, of course, how can we not talk about that? I'll give a brief overview of the staff survey we did, and I also want to finish on a bit upbeat and perhaps be a little bit optimistic about water resources at the moment. When we began adjusting to COVID back in March, my key message was do the best you can. And that is still the key message, do the best you can. We're all in an unusual situation, having to adjust at work or at home, and it's not perfect, it's not ideal, but you're doing well. Since my last message, which was only about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we've seen the numbers around the world of COVID infections continue to spiral. We've seen a spike in Melbourne that persistently seems to be staying there at the moment. And we've also had a detection last week locally in Orbost, and we're yet to see the ripple effects of that. So it's easy to feel a bit deflated and perhaps a bit anxious. And I feel exactly the same, I'm sure we all do. So all I would ask you to do is to reflect on all that we've achieved in the last 4 months and what a fantastic job you've done to adjust at home, in your family lives or at work. And in the working environment, our service to our customers is completely unchanged. It's the same fantastic service we always provide, and no program, no project has been deferred, and we've managed to hit every deadline that's been expected of us. So that's a fantastic outcome given the unusual circumstances. So continue to do the best you can, and that'll be good enough. Now, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this thing, which I'm sure you all know is a face mask. And we've had some mixed messages around face masks over the last few months, and I want to make it really simple. This is a fantastic, useful piece of personal protective equipment. Whether it's to help you protect yourself, to protect your workmates, or to present to our customers in the community that we're looking after them and we're being professional in everything we do, it serves a lot of great purposes. It's as simple as that. So we'll be seeing these more and more often in our personal lives and at work. Now, I'm pleased to say that we made the call to order some masks before the Melbourne shutdown, so we have plenty in stock. We've distributed them to our operational staff for their use where they see fit. We've mandated their use in a few circumstances where people are unable to maintain that 1.5 metres of separation, or when we're working in people's backyards, or perhaps travelling together in vehicles. It is very likely that we will be expanding those requirements to wear masks more often over coming weeks and months. So what I'd like to do is encourage everyone to get a photograph of themselves with a mask on and send it in to our comms team, and we'll stick that in our newsletter over the next few editions. It'd be great to see a double-page spread of as many people as possible wearing a mask. How's that? Wasn't too hard, was it? Did fog my glasses up a bit. So look, if you've got a nice colourful mask, we're going to try and get some cotton ones that are more sustainable rather than these disposable ones. But we have plenty. Have a go. As I say, you can use a bandana or other things at the moment. So get your photos in, I'd like to see them. Next, I want to talk a bit about the staff survey we did. And fantastic result with 80% of the people in the organisation responding, and that's great because we need to know that what we're receiving is representative of everybody's views. And just to remind you, while we're doing the surveys, so while we've been doing regular catch-ups with people, team meetings and checking how they're going, or ringing each other individually and seeing how you're going and just asking what we can do, the responses we were getting were all very positive, but we wanted to provide a mechanism where staff could respond in a more formal way, perhaps anonymously, and a way that we can repeat. So we will repeat the survey again every month or so, and just to see how we're travelling. So what were the results? And so for this survey we've just completed, 90% of staff said they're coping well, and that teamwork, productivity and their own satisfaction is actually the same or better than before COVID. And that's a great result. Of course, we're very interested in the other 10%. So there were some responses where staff were concerned about their home office arrangements, and comments were provided. So when we look into those comments, one of the common themes was IT, and we understand that IT is not perfect in all circumstances, but also people were a little bit concerned about their desk or maybe the monitor they've got at home if they're working off a laptop or a small screen. So those are some things we can do things about. So in terms of chairs or screens, please come in and get your chairs and screens from the office if you believe that will help you. When we initially set up people at home, we asked you not to take equipment from the office because we thought it might be over in a matter of weeks or a few months. Clearly that's not the case, and we need to settle in for a longer period. We need to provide you with a safe environment, so if you wish to, grab a chair, grab your screen. Do ask that you let your manager know so we can keep a record of that, because at some point we'll be transitioning people back into the office. Of course, if IT is not great, and that may be that it's just the way it is where you live, there might be opportunities for you to come and work more regularly in the office from time to time. That is something we can fix. There were about 10% of staff indicated they were struggling, and that can be related to some of those home office type situations that I've just touched on, but it may be that people are feeling anxious and isolated. I'll just reiterate some of the things that we will try and help you with and that you can do, and one is, of course, as I just said, if you're missing a bit of social contact, feeling a bit isolated at home, it is okay to come into the office. That is an acceptable reason for people to be in the office from time to time or regularly. And again, if you speak to your manager, we can work that out and get you on a roster. We do provide a range of counselling services. We have an employee assistance program through Converge. They have a range of counsellors and other services, and you can access that contact information on our internet portal. Just go to the Wellbeing button. If you go to that button, you'll also see a reference to Jeff Pegler, who's our internal counsellor. He's a fantastic bloke. His mobile number's there. You couldn't get a more approachable, nicer guy. So, you know, that's another option for you to consider. Of course, you've got your own family and friends sort of circles and contact. Please don't feel uncomfortable sharing your stories. Finally, I just want to make the point, of course, remind you to take a break. Most of you are accumulating RDOs. Even a day or two here and there is a really good way of just breaking the cycle of are you at work or at home? Because at the moment we all feel like we're on a bit of a treadmill and you're never quite sure. So there are a range of things you can do. I'm not saying it's as simple as that, but I encourage you to consider those options, and we're here to help. And as I said, we will repeat the survey again in a month or so, and we'll see what other assistance we can provide. Finally, I just want to end on a bit of a positive note and talk a little bit about water resources, perhaps be a bit optimistic for the coming summer. And as I'm preparing this video for you right now, it's been raining outside, it's miserable, and that's great. I guess my gut feeling is it certainly seems colder than last year, and the evidence is telling us at the moment rainfall's higher than the last couple of years, which were the drought years, and river flow's probably a little bit up as well. So that's a positive sign. It's really too early to call, but we can be optimistic for summer, that the catchment conditions are going to be more favourable, that the catchment conditions are wetter, and hopefully that will mean less likelihood of severe bushfires this year, and we can have a bit of respite for the coming summer. So that's it for me. I'll just reiterate again, please take care, just do the best you can, and send in your questions. I'd much rather be answering your questions if you've got specific queries than me just making it up as I go along. So take care, all the best, bye.